G'day punters and welcome to this week's edition of the footy version of Spruikers. And before we get into the big Anzac weekend action, I'd like to wish you a very happy birthday to Michael Sharkie.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Norton.
21 candles, Mick.
Brought, 21, and I add a few onto that and a few more grey hairs, but yeah, somewhere in that vicinity.
Not at all. I think you're looking fantastic for 21.
Thank you. I do try.
Yeah, terrific. Before we look at the Essendon Collingwood Big Anzac Day clash and the other 7 games from the weekend, let's catch up with Nat at the news desk.
Thanks, Jake. Looking at your side first, and Essendon hopes to regain up to 3 stars for Sunday's Anzac Day clash with Collingwood. Brent Stanton, Mark McVeigh and Angus Monfries are all in the mix for selection, with Stanton the strongest chance for a recall. The Western Bulldogs will be without Matthew Boyd this weekend after he broke a bone in his hand in last week's loss to the Lions. Will Minson has been dropped to the VFL, while Jason Ackermanis and Brad Johnson will return from injury. Brisbane Lions star Jonathan Brown has dismissed suggestions he will miss the game against Melbourne. Rumours have surfaced that Brown has a groin injury which may require surgery and see him miss Saturday's game. West Coast gun midfielder Daniel Kerr will be sidelined for the next 3 months after he tore his hamstring in an injury similar to that of Saints skipper Nick Riewoldt and Hawk Josh Gibson. And Kerr's teammate Quinton Lynch is set for yet another week in the waffle as rumours continue to circulate that the forward has already signed with the Gold Coast. Finally today, Betfair is looking for your blame to fame. Share with us your reason for not rising to sporting fame. Perhaps your junior soccer coach gave Timmy Cahill a run off the bench instead of you, or maybe your footy injury in the under-14s paved the way for Chris Judd in your junior team. Whatever the reason, venting your spleen could win you tickets, flights and accommodation to both the AFL and NRL Grand Finals. Fantastic prize there, and all you have to do is log on to betfair.com.au/blame and submit your entry. And that's all the news for now. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Nat. I'd like to hear a blame to fame from your good self. I've heard about your action on the tennis court, and I don't know how you haven't made it onto the WTA circuit, but perhaps that's one for next week.
That's got a bit of the hingus about her as well, doesn't she?
I don't really see it, but okay, sure thing, Mick.
She was a decent tennis player, wasn't she?
My word, she was. She's world number one. And are you talking about her Grand Slam victories? My word.
Definitely.
Yeah. In that manner, she is indeed a Hingus type. Let's talk footy, Shark. I know we've talked off air about the fact that there looks to be 8 clear-cut favourites in round 5 of the AFL. 8 winners, do you think?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
definitely.
The Kangas could throw a spanner in the mix.
Are you talking from your heart or your head there?
Never right off the Kanga.
I'm not so sure. I know they've been a bogey team for Hawthorn in the past couple of years when Hawthorn have been successful, but...
We did have Gimbo though.
Yeah, right. Well, that was useful. Franklin back for the Hawks, obviously. He is a big inclusion for them, I would dare suspect. Look, I guess that's probably a good place to start. I think Hawthorn are probably okay value at 138. I think they'll win. Might be one to bet in play, actually.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's probably a good one to go. Especially if they get rain.
Yeah, but I think this could be a week where you would take a Betfair Oz multi and maybe group up all 8 favourite selections. I know we had an Oz multi last week and we were both successful, Shark.
We were, yeah.
Just a skite for a second.
Oh.
I think you had St Kilda and...
the Bears.
The Bears, correct. And I think I had the Eagles over Essendon, who were hapless again.
Yeah, going well, the Bombers.
And the Swans. Yeah, well look, let's talk about Anzac Day. I mean, last year... if I remember correctly, Essendon were matched at 100 to 1
Is that right?
in play when they were about 3 goals down with a few minutes to go. Zarakis kicked the goal at the end and the Bombers won.
Yeah. Somebody would have been happy.
Yeah, well, my word, and others unhappy, but that's the nature of the exchange, and also evidence of why Betfair is such a brilliant in-play betting product. It's the only place where you can bet live at any minute in the game. I think Nat touched on Jonathan Brown's injury. I believe he responded to one inquiry from a journo during the week with some rather interesting terminology when they inquired about his injury.
He's not a man you'd be pressing or suggesting he was telling porcupines, would you? He might fire up a little bit.
Yeah.
He'll cut up rough pretty quickly, old Jay Brown.
Have you ever had any experiences like that in your journalistic career?
No, everyone loves
Ruffling feathers, of course, naturally.
Golden
anyway, that leads us into the Brisbane and Melbourne game. Melbourne have been great the last few weeks.
Yeah, on fire the D's.
I think
on fire.
Pretty good odds at 345. I think that'll shorten dramatically if these rumours about John Brown continue to be or to be proven true. That will prove to be interesting. Look, I don't think we need to say any much further other than that there's 8 clear standouts this week in our humble opinions. And look, we're on fire, so I think we've got every right to back ourselves.
Definitely.
We'll get your Betfair Big Spruik in a moment, Mick, your birthday boy. But first of all, let's speak to Nat and see what she can come up with her Betfair Big Spruik.
The Betfair.
Thank you guys. Just so you know, Martina Hingis was probably the player I despised most when growing up. Some people have likened me to Lena, but I'm not really sure if that's anything to do with my playing ability. Moving on to footy though, this week my Betfair Big Spruik is going to be the Cats to beat Carlton by over 40 points. I think that's paying around $2.50 on Betfair, and I'm liking the Cats' three-pronged attack too, with Mooney and the Pod and Hawkins up there. So looking pretty good, and I think they'll beat the Blues. And Sharkie, happy birthday.
Thanks a lot, Nat. You can almost see the steam emanating from Nat's ears after that Hingis suggestion. I think there's been a few other unkind suggestions off camera as well, but I think she's more of an Anna Ivanovic type. Absolute spunk.
No, we'll go with that. We'll definitely go with that.
Definitely a spunk in the Anna Ivanovic mould.
I can't take the beating again.
No, that's right. Oh, not at all.
Savage beating.
Yeah. Oof, wow. Mick, your Betfair Big Spruik for the week? For the punters out there, who are we hanging on your every word after last week, I might add.
Don't put too much pressure on. I think we'll just couple up all the favourites.
Okay.
And for some value, let's just go with the Kangas.
Okay, the Kangas. Also, are you going to?
Kangas with the favourites. The rest of the favourites, all the favourites, 7 favourites. Kangas is the outsiders.
Okay, well, having all 8 favourites in a Betfair Oz multi will return $5.97 for a $1 investment. It'll be about triple that if you include North rather than Hawthorn, so about 15 to 1 on that result. I'm going to go with Freo to kick the highest score of the round. I know it's kind of sticking the boots into Richmond a bit because they're going that badly, but I think Freo obviously playing well. Back on their home deck against the Tigers, who are really struggling. I think they're about 350 to kick the high score of the round, and that'll do me. Mick, happy birthday, mate. Hope you celebrate in fantastic style, and look forward to catching up again next week. Have a fun and safe and happy Anzac Day weekend, punters. Look forward to seeing you next week.